Good morning, friends. I am Narendra, social studies teacher. So, today let us start the lesson Globalization. Now, the globalization, it is a phenomena took place in the mid 20th century, that is after 1950s onwards. So, what is the globalization? So, actually, this globalization impacted in many ways in all over the world, economical, political, cultural changes. So, because of this globalization occurred. So now let us see what is the globalization. So globalization is that flow of goods and services and people and capital from one country to another country. How the goods and services. So you know that even before the 1950s also, before the globalization also, there was movement of goods and services, but it is only restricted to some area within the country. It was restricted, but after that, what happened? Because of this globalization, the flow of goods increased many folds. So especially in the before 1950s, only limited. It means only in the food articles and the only for the raw materials, and after finished goods only we used to export from one country to another country. But after this globalization, almost every the things we are exporting and importing from all over the world. So now this is the next. What is the people? People means the people are migrating from one country to another country. So Indian people are working in America, and in that way, many people are coming in many places. Migration is taking place because of this globalization. Next, capital. So capital means what? The investment. The company of a nation is investing in another company, another nation. So company of a country is investing money in another country. This is called the capital. So this is the globalization. These are the flow of goods and services, movement of people and capital from one country to another country, one place to another place. It is called the globalization. So before the 1950s, what was that? So within the country now we have liberalized that. So it means globalization means rapid integration and interconnection between the countries, among the countries. So it led to globalization. So now you see how this globalization works, how it works. So for example, let us take in the globalization, we are using LG, what Samsung, many companies, many products we are using. You are using Samsung mobile, LG fridge, you are using refrigerator. So you see the when the MNCs enter into the fair, the globalization structure changed completely. So what are the MNCs? How they work? So in this lesson, what are the MNCs, what is the globalization, what are the impacts of the globalization, in India it is impacted, world over what are the implications, everything we will learn, and world organizations we learn about in this lesson. So now MNCs. Now next our concept is that MNC. MNC is a multinational company. Multinational company means a company which owns and controls the production in more than one country. That is called MNC. For example, as we said now, LG and Samsung and many other products we are using, so they are comes under the multinational company. What is the aim of multinational company? To maximize the profit. How you maximize the profit? So to cut down your production cost. How you cut down your production cost? Because wherever the cheap availability, raw material availability, production cost is low, less you invest there. How? For example, I tell you one example. For example, you are using these MNCs to maximize their profit. For example, USA, there is a research and development is very high in the USA. So they design the product, and research and development takes place in America, USA, and they manufacture it in the China, small parts. For example, mobile phones, they design Apple for many other phones, they're designing in the America, and the small parts in that chips and the rubber and everything is produced in the China, because low cost of production in China, because of the power availability, transporting facilities availability, infrastructure availability, government policies, these are manufacturing in the China. So after the small parts, after this what happens, these small parts are they assembling in Mexico or in Europe, because the proximity to the market increases. So you can distribute these finished product all over the world. To do that, so these MNCs, what they do, simply they assemble these small parts into a product and sell all over the world. In India, for example, they established customer care center because the Indian people, they have the knowledge in English, and the less cost they offer their services with lower cost compared to other countries. So because of this, these MNCs, they can cut down their costs. So they by that they can maximize their profits. For do that, these MNCs are investing. For example, Ford car is based on USA company, but they are manufacturing this Ford car in Chennai, in India. So after this manufacture, they are shipping this shipping by cargo or airgo. They are shipping all over you can observe the Ford cars all over the world. Many cars in Europe, Africa, Asia, many countries you can observe the Ford car. But it is a company of America manufacturing in India, selling all over the world. So this is the MNCs how they work. Now the next question is how the MNCs select their operation, business operations. What is the criteria of selection? So mainly they follow the 4 criteria for the selection of a place. Number 1 is the proximity. So there should be a proximity to the markets. So after the finishing good, there should be sell over. It should be sold over to all the places. So proximity to the market, they decide that. So because of the proximity, they can maximize their profits. And also they observe that skilled and unskilled labor with low cost. They need skilled like professionals, IT professionals, and many specialists, and unskilled labors like labor, they need that too with lesser cost. So in that way they can maximize their profits. They cut down their cost. Next, third one is the factors of production. What are the factors of production? Land, labor, capital, and the next the resources, government. Next, land, labor, capital, entrepreneur. These are the factors of production. So wherever these factors of production are available, they establish their factory. Next, fourth one is that the government policies. How the government policy, or the government is encouraging business people or discouraging business people. Based on that, the MNCs, they select their operation area, their business area. So in that way, MNCs establish these are the criteria. Now the next question is how these MNCs work. How these MNCs works. So already we know that what is MNC? Owns and controls the production. How they own? The next question, how they own? So there are many ways. There are majorly 3 ways are there. How they own? The number 1 is directly purchasing land, establishing factory, purchasing a building, or purchasing a land, manufacturing. For example, Ford car manufacturing in Chennai. So they are purchasing land. They invested here. Directly they started established factory. This is one way of the owning of their MNC. Their production. Next, another point is that joint ventures. How the joint ventures? So because of the setup of production by jointly with local company. For example, so recently Jio and Facebook, and earlier there was that Ashok and Leyland, Maruti, Suzuki, and Tata, Docomo, Hero, Honda. So these are other things they jointly they produce that and they get profits jointly, and in that way what is the use for the local companies to joint venture for the foreign companies? Because if Jio it doesn't have the technology, so you can get technology from the Facebook, and sometimes money also. Facebook has a lot of money, so because of that money and the technology they can use for their own purpose. For that purpose, what we are doing, so simply they are making joint venture with the foreign companies. They get the local market, they access to local market, the people. So because no need to invest in the land, labor, capital, etc. Because of the already Jio has available all those things. These things affect this the owning way. Another way of the owning is that purchasing the local companies. For example, recently Walmart purchased a Flipkart. So in the same way, in our textbook it has given that the Cargill Foods taken over this Farag Foods. Farag Foods was one of the Indian company. It was taken over by the American Cargill Foods company. So in that way, there are 3 ways to owning the production. So number 1 is directly taking out the land investment. Another one joint ventures. Number 3 is purchasing local companies. This is how they own. So next is how they control the production. Now next, owning is different. Next, how they control the production. So simply the subcontract system. So for example, so for local companies, they give order. For example, clothes are there. For example, the footwear is there. They all order leather, they order plastic, they order gum, and also the sport items. Many items they simply subcon